There are not too many mangas out there that can actually keep you glued to the edge of your seat quite like Hunter x Hunter does. Being Shueisha's 8th best-selling manga comic, Hunter x Hunter has gained fame unlike any other manga. In such action-packed story, when two of its villains clashes against each other, you know you are in for some treat. Out of many battles, the confrontation between Chrollo and Hisoka is one of the best. But who won the battle and what really happened in that battle? Switching perspectives from the setup of the Dark Continent to Heaven's Arena, we are introduced to two floor masters facing off duel against each other. This inevitable battle has been one of the most hyped up battles in Hunter x Hunter ever since we learned about Hisoka's desire to eliminate all the spiders. He is also infamously known for seeking out individuals with massive heaps of potential and power. And Chrollo has this in spades. At the start, Hisoka says bluntly that he is ready to fight Chrollo for real this time, and Mr. Lucifer agrees, claiming that having you chase after me all the time has really grown tiresome. Battle to the Death is the 351 chapter's name in Hunter x Hunter manga. The battle between Chrollo and Hisoka starts in this chapter. It is decided that the two will compete in a competition to the death. Only one floor master can win. The judge tells the two that weapons are allowed and begins the match. Chrollo immediately pulls out his book and Hisoka reads the card. Chrollo then reveals a small black antenna in his left hand, placing it in the back of the judge's neck. He shows Hisoka a small phone which is Chalnark's Nen ability, Black Voice. Hisoka realizes that Chrollo was evading him for so long in order to prepare for their fight. Chrollo reveals another antenna and sends the judge to attack Hisoka, who realizes that Chrollo plans to stab him with the other antenna while he is distracted. Once he dodges it, Chrollo tricks Hisoka with a feint kick and stomps him rapidly. Hisoka uses bungee gum to counteract the judge and send him flying over to Chrollo, which he manages to dodge though. Hisoka here uses one of his cards to take out the guards out, only to realize that the guard himself is exploding. He uses bungee gum to escape upwards, and this is where Chrollo introduces his two Nen techniques. The first one is the sun and moon, and the second one is the double face. Double face is an ability which allows him to maintain an ability on that page of the book even with the book closed. Accordingly, he can also have a bookmark on one ability and have it open to another, allowing him to use both at the same time. Hisoka inquires more about the ability and Chrollo clarifies that the bookmark isn't a stolen ability, but it is his own ability he came up with to use together with the book after acquiring the sun and the moon ability. He only has one, and while being able to use two abilities at once is powerful. He says that the real advantage is not having to hold the book, which has added more conditions but greatly improved his efficiency in combat. As he prepares to continue the fight, Chrollo says that he will show off 3 more abilities, declaring that Hisoka will set a new record for the number of abilities it's taken him to kill someone. This is also where Chrollo states that he has never had gathered so many abilities to fight anyone. In the next chapter, Chrollo goes over Order Stamp, an ability that allows him to control puppets and not humans. To demonstrate, he makes a puppet copy of the dead judge by using gallery fake and places a stamp on the copy. He also explains that order stamp cannot be used for complex orders. This means that the copy reflects the true nature of its origin. If a human was used to create a copy, for instance, it would not respond if Chrollo commands it to kill someone. However, Chrollo, being the tactician that he is, shows that he has already found a workaround for it. He then proceeds to order the copy to break Hisoka rather than kill him, which he does. Hisoka beheads the copy with a single twist, cancelling order stamp with a copy still present, since gallery fake was still alive. Chrollo now introduces his last technique, covert hands, which makes people change appearances. If Chrollo touches anyone with his right hand, they turn into Chrollo, and if he touches anyone with his left hand, he transforms into them. However, the move isn't the best illusion out there, since only the user, in this case Chrollo, is left with 2 marks on their hand. Moving forward with the explanation, Chrollo further states that much to his surprise, the original user of one of his stolen abilities, the sun and moon, has already passed away. However, he can still use it. The battle starts with Chrollo distancing himself as he leaps into the crowd, activating Black Voice in the process. Hisoka follows him into the stands, but he gets blocked by 2 men under the control of Black Voice. Hisoka also figures that Chrollo has already changed his forms with the spectators and is waiting for the best opportunity to make the next move. The crowd panics and tries to exit as the fight continues, though it soon calms down. Chrollo manages to make a large group of copies, around 30 in total, using gallery fake, then uses order stamp to command them to break Hisoka. Hisoka decides to buy time and uses bungee gum to get closer to the roof. However, the copies follows him into the mid-air too. He kicks one of them and sees that Chrollo is behind him, who tries to land a jab with his left. Chrollo misses, but he manages to land a clean hit with his right instantly, crashing Hisoka into the stands. Hisoka gets up and fights off more copies, and once again Chrollo lands a hit, and this time with his leg. Hisoka learns that Chrollo is keeping him busy with more copies and striking only when he can guarantee a crucial hit. Hisoka beheads another copy and tries to escape, but soon finds out that Chrollo is above him, trying to stomp him again. He anticipated Chrollo's plan like this way and uses bungee gum to throw a copy's head at Chrollo, which he evades. Chrollo lands a stomp but gets caught in the Hisoka trap and gets hit with the copy's head. Hisoka now uses bungee gum and a head to take out the several copies at once and send it flying at Chrollo. Chrollo manages to escape it into the crowd again, and Hisoka takes out all the copies except one. He keeps one alive to keep order stamp activated and predict Chrollo's next move. The stamp from the last copy disappears, signaling the deactivation of the order stamp. Hisoka finds Chrollo amidst the crowd and repeatedly throws another severe heads at him. When he sees the crowd is fleeing, he sticks them to the floor with bungee gum and sends them all flying at Chrollo. When Chrollo tries to dodge, Hisoka throws the head from before into one of the spectators, sticking the bungee gum to one of the Chrollo's leg and pushes him to the floor of the stands. However, he learns that the person he pushed down only looked like Chrollo, but he wasn't actually Chrollo. Hisoka now deduces that Chrollo used convert hand to make a random person look like him and used black voice to order him. He then sees that Chrollo left an antenna deliberately to trick him and in reality uses sun and moon to create more copies. These copies won't vanish even if beheaded until they explode. A bruised Hisoka jumps to the middle of the arena to search for Chrollo and predicts that his next move will be a serious one. Now as the fight moves towards the end, at this point, Hisoka safely confirms that Chrollo plans on making several copies, activating Sun and Moon and order stamp to get the copies as close to Hisoka as possible and detonate. Chrollo causes a brawl amongst the crowd with his copies to distract Hisoka and grabs the commentator's headset and orders every single copy to break Hisoka through the arena speakers. After that, an army of copies now rushes at Hisoka and he uses bungee gum to grab 5 copies and swing them rapidly in circular motion like a hammer. While fighting, one of the copies' head explodes. This shatters his entire left palm and fingers, which Hisoka has attached a gum to for escaping. With no left hand to escape, Hisoka uses his leg to get the second level spectator stands. Chrollo now gives his copies the order to move to the second stand and self-destruct when they come to Hisoka. After that, Hisoka manages to escape and in mid-air tries to extend bungee gum to the ceiling. However, Chrollo prevents this by throwing several copies at Hisoka to push him down where more copies are present. Hisoka here gets covered with several copies which explodes on him, ultimately leading to his end. But guess what? Hisoka is still alive. He takes his time to recover from wounds and he is determined to destroy the whole Phantom Troop and kill each and every member of it one by one. So far the consequences of this fight have appeared to be very bad for Phantom Troop, but we will see what happens in the future as we will get more future chapters from Togashi as he is finally back now. Anyway, what are your thoughts about this fight? Do you think that Hisoka will be able to kill all members of the Phantom Troop? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel because I post daily anime content about top 10 top 5 listings, anime reviews, recommendations, news, theories and all sorts of anime content on daily basis. So if you enjoyed, please subscribe, and that was it, and I will see you in the next one. Sayonara.